welcome to Dwayne and Nidia's kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make Portuguese fresh cheese, or as the Portuguese call it, Queijo Fresco. Now we can make this cheese either out of goat milk or out of cow's milk, as long as they're both full fat. Today we're going to make it out of regular cow's milk. Let me just show you what you're going to need in order to make your own fresh, delicious Portuguese cheese at home. So now we're at the stove, and you can see I have a nice soup pot here, and in this soup pot I have half gallon of whole milk. So right in here is a half gallon of whole milk, and this is enough to make a few fresh cheeses so you have some to share with friends. So there's the milk, and the milk will stay here, and just get ready for the next stage of putting the cheeses together. But first I'm going to show you everything you're going to need and how much you're going to need of it in just 1 second. Okay, so here's what you need in order to make Queijo Fresco. First of all, you're going to need some cheese forms. Now these cheese forms I actually bought online because they're made of stainless steel and they have the little holes. The little holes are for draining all the way from the cheese so that you end up forming the cheese so it becomes more solid. I bought 2 packages, one with the larger size cheeses and then one really cute one with little mini sized cheeses. I actually found these online at a Portuguese website that lets you buy Portuguese products online. I will give you the link. And the reason I'm going to give you the link is because I've been making this cheese for a few years, and I have bought forms from Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond. I've bought all kinds of forms, and I don't like the plasticky ones. I don't like the ones that leave weird ridges all over the cheese. I like the ones that make a nice solid piece of cheese, and I'll show you some other forms later so you can see what other options you have. But I have bought forms and I have bought things from Amazon as well. Okay, next up, you're going to need your rennet tablets, because this is what will start the milk to curdle, turning into cheese process. I buy Junket. You can find that in any supermarket. I happen to buy it in a 3-pack online. You can also find that in liquid form, so there's lots of different ways to buy that. You're going to use 2 tablets for the recipe that I show you today that you use a half gallon of milk for. The other thing you're going to need is some coarse kosher or sea salt, and we'll use 1 tablespoon of that. So there's not much to making cheese. It's actually really easy. Don't know why people are intimidated by it. I will say it's not a quick process because you have to get the stuff together, but again, it's only a handful of ingredients. Wait for the stove to warm the milk and you get started. But once you do take it from the pot and put it in the forms, that's when it can take maybe a day or even sometimes 2 days before the cheese really fully forms and is ready. All right, first thing I want to do is crush, I can see that it's poking out of the little, is crush these rennet tablets into a powdery form, because it makes it easier for it to dissolve. And of course it's popping out of the little thing here, but you'll see what I mean. The tablet, really, you want it to be powdery like this when it comes out. Otherwise, it doesn't dissolve that well when you put it into the warm milk. So I should have crushed this one up pretty good. Yeah, there we go. Now the last time I made this cheese, I don't know if it was me or the rennet tablets, but it really didn't thicken. It didn't curdle as much as I was used to seeing before. So sometimes I do like to keep a little extra around, and in this case I'm going to see how I do. Trying to get all of the rennet tablet here and see how it starts to come together. But if I don't like what it looks like, I might crush up a little bit more and add a little more, only because of what happened last time. I do want to say I tried to make it one time and I did buy this brand, and I used and did exactly the same recipe and it never curdled. And I don't know if these are just sometimes they have an off day or sometimes they don't work that well, but it's happened to me and I'm just letting you know in case it happens to you. But make sure you do get everything out of each little foil packet so that you have what you need. Okay, so now we're at the stove and you can see I'm heating up this milk. Very important, you want to warm the milk, not get it hot. You certainly don't want it to boil. If you let it get past that warm temperature, it won't curdle. So you know how I do it? I taste it. If it still feels a little on the cool side, just give it a little more. You want it to definitely be warm, but not hot. You shouldn't have to blow on it. It's just bring it up to warm. Stir it around And I have my salt and my rennet ready to go. As soon as this feels warm enough to me, I will add the salt first. About another minute, maybe not. Okay, this is now warm, and as soon as it gets to that degree of warmth, before it gets hot, you're going to turn off your flame at this point and add your salt. And stir that up. And then to the milk and salt mix, I will add the rennet. This should be what makes it curdle. And give it a good stir. Just like that. I'll show you. When can you see? Nothing's happening yet, and it won't happen that quickly, but do keep it stirring because you want to make sure that the salt and the rennet, that there's, you know, especially with the rennet, if I didn't pound it down into a nice enough texture, so you get it all kind of done up there. You can see this is not hot. It's just warm, not boiling. It's has to be, this is probably the hardest part of making the cheese, making sure you don't make it too hot and keep it warm enough so that all of this melts and melts together. Okay, once I've stirred that all up, now it's time to give everything a rest. I'm going to cover this pot and give it about an hour and come back and check how it looks. Hello folks, I'm back. And as you can see, the curdling process has started. It's taken a little bit longer than I thought. It's been about an hour. It's not as curdled as I'd like it at an hour, so I'm just going to let it sit here and continue to wait. And I'll check back in another hour and show you what it looks like. But yes, it is starting to curdle, as you can see. You can see the surface. And what you do is once it is a little more firm, you can start taking it out and putting it into your forms, but it's not quite ready yet. I think it'll be another half hour for me to check again, and probably another half hour to an hour before I get ready to put these into the cheese forms. Okay, so now we're about ready to start putting the curdled cheese or curdled milk into the forms. This is the form I'm going to use, but I wanted to show you that before I found these online, and by the way, this is the first time I'm trying these, I had purchased these from Amazon, but there were no holes in them. And I had to keep lifting and lifting so that the whey and the liquid would come out, and it never
And those
really.
are stainless steel, and you will not get holes in them easily.
I did, before those stainless steel, purchase these from Amazon, and these are plastic. Of these two, this one is really good, but I think this makes enough cheese for a family of 10, and you don't want that much fresh cheese. So this isn't really practical. I tried putting just a little in, and I ended up with pancake type of cheese.
I remember those.
Didn't work that well. This one was better. I filled it about half, but it had some weird lines and prints all over it. I don't know.
I thought it was decorative.
Okay, well, we'll see what this one looks like. Okay, we'll go to the stove and I'll show you what it's looking like now. So this is what it looks like when it starts to curdle. And here I am with the plate with the form. This has a lot of liquid in it. I don't know how this is going to quite work, but let me tell you what I normally do. I normally take a pinch of salt and just add it to the bottom here. And then I very carefully use a spoon or a colander or something that lets a lot of the moisture out. And then I begin filling the form. Try to get as much moisture out because it'll just save you time in the end trying to organize.
It's coming out one way or another. Whether you drain it here or put it in the form, it's still going to come out. But this is a much cleaner way of filling your form.
And I bought this little spoon colander, again, from Amazon. And it's great for dumplings. It's great for making this kind of cheese. Yeah, this is curdled pretty well. And I'll show you what happens in a minute. Get as much of the liquid out. I've had it curdle a little nicer than this, so I'm still a work in progress. There's quite a bit of cheese in here, though. And the cheese will start to flatten as it dries out. You can see the liquid starting to come out coming out from the bottom in this case, not necessarily from the holes on the side. I am going to fill this form up to the top. I'm not sure, with this size being the first time, how many cheeses I'll get from the half gallon of milk. This might be my last ladle. You can see. I'll press down on that a little bit. I think that makes a pretty full cheese. I do add a smidge, but not a lot. Don't add a lot. Not everybody likes their cheese that salty. You can see there's already liquid coming out. You're going to have to watch this liquid and actually remove the liquid. At first, every few hours, I just dump it, hold on to the cheese. Sometimes I put a paper towel underneath when it's a little bit less liquidy in a different stage. But just keep an eye on it, set it aside, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to keep watching for that liquid and keep taking the liquid out, and I'll catch you back when the cheeses are ready. Thanks. Okay, so we're here and we have put the curdled milk in these forms and they are turning into cheese. We have enough curdles to make one large one and two small ones. You can see that the whey is escaping from the holes in the side and also from the bottom. I'll have to keep draining this and making sure that I'm giving it time for all of the liquid to come out of the cheese. This will continue to set in the refrigerator, and I'll have to continue to check and remove the liquid as it sets in the refrigerator for the next day, sometimes 2 days, and then it will be ready to eat. I love to eat this cheese with some hot crushed peppers, or as the Portuguese call it, pimenta moída. These are two brands that you can find here locally, Antonio's and Curisca. Two different Portuguese brands, but any pepper will do. This is Portuguese bread or Portuguese pops that I've toasted with a little bit of olive oil. This mixture of some crunchy bread, some pepper that you can put over the top or just stash on the side, or even just put on the bread as you dip into it. A nice drink, hot cup of tea, you're ready to go. So let me know if you like this recipe, or if you think you have a better recipe, please let me know. If you know where to buy more of these forms, or if you know anything about making this cheese that I should learn from you, let me know in the description. I will put the recipe there. I'll also put the links to some of these things that I've shown you, and enjoy.